Thank you and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Dr. GGlover, the president of Tennessee State University, and she's given us some information in reference to her background, education, and experiences. And now she will talk about coming to Tennessee State University. Some of the individuals that she met at Tennessee State University had influence upon her, and how she was able to achieve academically at the institution at a time when many people felt that these kinds of institutions were not doing what they ought to do. Talk about it from that perspective.
Well, from an HBCU perspective, the first thing I had to decide was, am I going to attend HBCU, yes or no? So I made that decision that I wanted to attend HBCU, Historically Black College, and then Tennessee State rose to the top of the list. And then coming here, I met so many wonderful individuals, the faculty, staff. Of course, I have five that always come to mind. Of course, two are deceased now, the two Gassaway sisters, Dr. Sadie Gassaway and Dr. Pearlie Gassaway. But the Williams, Dr. McDonald Williams and Jamie Williams.
They've both been in that seat.
Yes, they now live in Atlanta. And they were so tremendously influential in my life, in my career. I called them as I was doing my inaugural address. I called her and had her assist me with doing some research on it. So that I still talk to them quite frequently. In fact, their daughter-in-law is one of my close friends. And of course, Barbara Merle was there as, she was the vice president, the first vice president, female in the whole system, the TSU, the TBR, Tennessee Board of Regents system. So she's become, she was a close friend of mine too. So those were some of the folk who were influential while I was at TSU, and that who are still living and having fun, not about to do anything. They're not even sick at all. So those were some of the wonderful mentors that are very, very influential to me.
Have you thought about being the president of Tennessee State University now and sort of incorporating some of the things that you learned under their leadership in reference to dealing with faculty and staff and students now? Has that had any impression on you at all?
Well, the fairness aspects. You know, you pick up in the fairness and you want to make sure you operate with a strong sense of integrity at all times. Well, I noticed that there was an element of fairness about Dr. McDonald Williams in our honors programs classes, and he was no nonsense. You know, he was, so those are the kind of things, the strict love that, you know, some folks call it tough love, but there's a strictness that you apply as you love and mentor students. So I saw that then, and I see it now in many of the faculty that we have, which is a good thing. And it's very encouraging in terms of being able to replicate that kind of attitude that they had toward your students now. It is, and then you apply some of your own characteristics and traits that you've picked up, you know, in the business world. You know, being a CPA and being a lawyer and an educator, those three work so well together as you at the top leadership position, because you see things with a bigger picture in mind, and you're able to dissect mentally much quicker. So, and I find myself analyzing the smallest sentence that's brought to me when it comes to finances. So that is very important, because as you know, many of our universities are looking for additional funds. So we have to make sure you can quickly make decisions about how to best employ the funds that we have.
And you think that the very fact of you being an accountant as well as a lawyer helped to enhance your ability to be able to deal with some of the problems?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. As an auditor, I know that most problems are not so much from breaking the law or misappropriating or doing acting in an inappropriate manner, is not knowing the rules in the first place. I think the legal profession has made me learn how to read rules and laws more closely and understand them much better. And of course, the accounting profession, which is the language of business, so because it made me understand business and the business aspects of being a president.
And so all of those things really came together for you coming to Tennessee State University as the president of Tennessee State University. What did you think in terms of first being selected and then finally selected as president of the Tennessee State of the United States, that you might stand there. But what did you think in terms of when that happened to you? That
it was so much excitement in my family, because it was a process that took, I would say, about 2 or 3 months, going through the interviews and meeting various people and getting feedback from the campus, the students, the Board of Regents who ultimately made the selection and took the vote. So I was very pleased and honored to come back now and lead the university that gave me my start. I mean, there's no greater honor, no greater blessing than when God calls you back home.
And there you were at Tennessee State University, selected as the president of that great institution, now to move that institution forward. And you are moving the institution forward according to everything that we see in the newspaper and everywhere else. And when we come back, when we have our second commercial break, what we'd like for you to do is to think in terms of how you are moving the university. That is, some of the principles that you've laid down, and we might, I think in some instances, refer to them as challenges and opportunities, and recognizing that. And that's what we want to talk about. I think that I've heard you on many occasions lay out 5 or 6 points in terms of what you're trying to do in terms of enrollment and et cetera, et cetera. And so that's, I think that our audience would be really concerned in terms of hearing that kind of information and about how you are working hard in a real sense to make sure that students have opportunities, even those students who somehow might not have been doing the things that they ought to do to have that opportunity, but there you are. Yeah, and I think that the community is aware of all of the things, and I want you to talk about that.
Thank you.
Because I think that plays a very, very significant role in terms of how you are able to deal with the university, as well as how you're able to deal with outside of the university, because I think that we've seen in the newspaper a lot of information in reference to who you are and about the not only the groundbreaking activities that you're involved in for historically black institutions, black females, and et cetera, and you are in